Padmanabhan, Assistant Professor of English, Faculty of Engineering Technology, Annamalai University. Today we are going to see what is listening. Before going to that, we should understand what is listening. Listening is nothing but interpreting message. That is, listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. It is also a key to all effective communication. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. What is the purpose? Listening is one of the most important skills you can have. How well you listen has a major impact on your job effectiveness and on the quality of your relationship with others. For instance, we listen to obtain information from others, we listen to understand, we listen for enjoyment, and also we listen to learn. And listening is into active and passive listening. Now, we are going to see what is active listening. The way to improve your listening skill, to practice active listening, this is where you make a conscious effort to hear not only the words that another person is saying, but more importantly the complete message being communicated. Why the listening skill is more important for a student? Active listening promotes mindful thinking, which can reduce anxiety and depression in students. It can also help students build a relationship, because as they engage themselves in conversation, their peers are more likely to view them as open and interested. See, there are some difference between listening and hearing. For listening, it is a two-way process, but hearing is a one-way process. Listening is an active process, but hearing is a passive process. Apart from that, we are going to see 10 thumb rules for good listening. What are the 10 thumb rules? If you are known well of these 10 thumb rules, you could listen well and you will have a good answer for the question. First thing is, stop talking. Prepare yourself to listen. Put the speaker at ease. Remove distractions. Empathize with the speaker. Be patient. Avoid personal prejudice. Listen to the tone. Listen for ideas. Wait and watch for non-verbal communication. Let us see one by one. Stop talking. Stop talking. That is, you have to listen well. You should not talk while you are listening. Don't talk, listen. When somebody else is talking, it is important to listen to what they are saying. Do not interrupt, talk over them, or finish their sentence for them. Right now, the most important thing that you can do is simply listen to them. As the saying goes, there is a time and a place for everything, and that includes both listening and speaking. First, just listen. Hear what they are saying, watch their body language, and think about their meanings. When the other person has finished talking, you may need to ask them questions or reflect back what you have heard to clarify that you have received from message accurately. prepare yourself to listen. First, you should be very relaxed to listen. Do not be tensed. Don't be tension mode. Get relaxed. Focus on the speaker. Just look at the speaker and focus on the speaker. Put other things out of your mind. The human mind is easily distracted by other thoughts, such as wondering what's for lunch or what time you need to leave to catch your train or whether it is going to rain later. All these are distracting your mind and it doesn't allow you to listen. So, you have to prepare well for listening. When you are listening to someone, try to put other thoughts of your mind and concentrate on the message that are being communicated. If you are following all those distractions, if it is removed, you can listen well. Put the speaker at ease. Leave the speaker free. Help the speaker to feel free to speak. Let them allow freely to speak. It's not always easy for someone to talk freely, especially if they find the topic is difficult or it causes an emotional reaction. However, as a listener, there are actions you can take to make the speaker feel more confident. For example, nod your head and smile, or use other gestures or words to encourage them to continue. That is, when the speaker is looking at you, you should nod your head as though you understand and smile at them. Give some gestures. Maintain eye contact, but don't stare at them. A gentle eye contact. Do not stare at the speaker. Echo back their last few words in a technique known as mirroring, which is a part of reflecting, and summarize or paraphrase what they have said, finishing with a question to encourage them to continue. Next point is remove distraction. You have to remove all kind of a distraction. That means remove as many as a distraction as possible, so you can focus on what is being said. Human mind is prone to being distracted. It is therefore important to ensure that you don't give your mind too much opportunities for escape. You should not allow your mind to escape from the point of view. When you are listening to someone, it is a good idea to remove possible distraction. Put down your phone or turn away from your computer screen. It's also a good idea to avoid unnecessary interruption. For example, at work, you might leave your desk and go to a meeting room, leaving your phones behind. Avoid behaviors like dawdling, shuffling papers, looking out of the windows, picking your fingernails or similar. All these distraction ideas will not make you to listen well. These kind of behaviors are unhelpful for both you have and the speaker. They are likely to distract you from the process of listening and making your listening less effective. They will also suggest to the speakers that you are not interested, which makes it harder for them to speak well. Empathize with the speaker. You have to empathize. Try to understand the other person's point of view. You have to empathize. When you are listening, it is important to see issues from the speaker's perspective, to empathize with them. This helps you to understand other point of view and to understand their concerns. The best way to do this is to let go of preconceived ideas. By opening your mind to new ideas and perspectives, you can more fully empathize with the speaker. If the speaker says something that you disagree with, then wait. Keep listening to the views and the opinions without comment. Put they have until they have finished speaking. After all, your first impression could be wrong. Their argument could be more noised when you listen carefully to it in full. You should only start to construct an argument to counter what is said, if necessary, once they have finished and you have fully assimilated their arguments. If you are not empathizing, you will keep on fighting with the speaker. Don't come to an idea before listening to the whole lecture. Empathize. Allow him to speak well. Be patient. A pause, even a long pause, do not necessarily mean that speaker has finished. Sometimes it takes time to formulate what to say and how to say it. Be patient and let the speaker continue in his own time. Never be tempted to interrupt or finish a sentence for someone. Is this particularly important if the speaker has a speech impediment such as a stammer? Stammering, people with a stammer, a hesitation in their speech, that means they tend to repeat the initial sound of a word, may have a sound to which they default when stammering. They may also have developed tactics that enable them to overcome their stammer, such as changing the word they plan to use. It is therefore important that you do not try to guess what word they want to use from the first letter or fill it for them, because you are quite likely to be wrong. Avoid personal prejudice. Do not prejudice before listening the whole lecture. Try to impartial. Don't be partial on your ideas. Try to be impartial. Our personal prejudice can lead us to prejudge someone's words and meaning based on their habits and mannerism. This prevents effectively listening because you have effectively already decided whether their words have value. Don't become irritated and don't let someone's habits or mannerism distract you from what they are really saying. Everybody has a different way of speaking. For example, some people are more nervous or shy than others. Some have regional accents or make excessive arm movements. Some people like to pause, whistle talking, and others like to sit still. These behaviors can be distracting for listeners. Listen to the tone. Tone is important for a speaker. Listen how the tone is pronounced. Volume and tone both add to what someone is saying. A good speaker will use both volume and tone to help them to keep an audience attentive. Equally, everybody will use pitch, tone and volume of voice in certain situations. Effective listening means using these non-verbal clues to help you to understand the emphasis and nonsense of what is being said. Listen for ideas. Listen whole thing for a good idea. You need to get the whole picture, not just isolated bits and pieces. Words are the most basic elements of communication, but they do not occur in isolation. Perhaps one of the most difficult aspects of listening is the ability to link together piece of information to reveal the ideas of others. However, the proper concentration, letting go of distractions and improving your focus, this become easier. It's also helpful to use techniques like clarification and questioning to help you more sense of ideas. Wait and watch for nonverbal communication. Gestures, facial expression and eye movements can all be important in understanding someone's full meaning. We tend to think of listening as being something that happens with our ears, and hearing is of course important. However, active listening also involves our eyes. Some experts suggest that up to 80% of communication is nonverbal. That includes hearing the volume and the tone, but a substantial element of any communication is body language. This is why it's much harder to gauge meaning over the phone. When listening, it is vital to watch and pick up the additional information being transmitted via nonverbal communication. After this, a technique to develop the listening. What are the techniques? There are 5 techniques, key techniques. Pay attention. Show that you are listening. Provide feedback. Defer judgment. Respond appropriately. All these 5 techniques will allow you to listen well. How can you improve your active listening skill? The first thing is consider eye contact. Eye contact is very, very important for good listening. Be alert, but not tense. Do not be tension. Be alert. Pay attention to the non-verbal signs such as body language and a tone. Make a mental image of what the speaker is saying. Empathize with the speaker. Provide feedback. Keep an open mind and only then you can listen well. If your mind is distracted and you are thinking about something, you can't listen well. Thank you.